Chairman, I beg to move that the total sum to be allocated for Head F of the estimates be reduced by $100. In our country's governance, Parliament is where the authority of the government stems. It is also the body which the government is ultimately accountable to. However, while Singapore has a strong reputation for strong government, can we equally say that we have a strong parliament? In Singapore, we talk a lot about the executive, but parliamentary work is the reason why voters put members in this House. I would like to share some thoughts on entrenching the office of the Speaker in its key principle of impartiality before looking at the importance of ensuring that Parliament is relevant and accessible to the wider citizenry through the principle of openness. The Inter-Parliamentary Union, of which our Parliament is a member, states that parliaments must be representative, open and transparent, accessible, accountable and effective. It notes that, quote, parliaments are constantly evolving in order to meet new challenges and expectations, and crucially, that parliaments can always improve like democracy itself. First, the Speaker presides over the sittings of the House and enforces rules prescribed in the standing orders of Parliament and during sittings, is responsible for regulating and enforcing the rules of debate. In order to do so, it is imperative that the Speaker is and is seen to be impartial at all times. This is the reason why the Speaker does not take part in debates, and thus the saying that the Speaker may do anything except speak. Many jurisdictions enshrine the principle of the Speaker's impartiality in their rules. Some ways in which jurisdictions have approached this include having the Speaker not take part in votes in the House, as is the case of Germany's Bundestag, retaining party membership but no longer participating in National Party caucuses in the case of the Speaker of the House of Commons in Canada, or even a system of rotation in the election of a Speaker or amongst their deputies between major parties like we see in countries like Austria. The Speaker, as presiding officer, is also responsible for ensuring that standing orders are followed to ensure that public business is conducted in a decent and orderly manner, balancing the government of the day's need to get its business through Parliament and the opposition's responsibility to debate and scrutinise that business. The Speaker may thus be called upon to make rulings and decisions on points of order from time to time, and it will be helpful for these to serve as precedents to govern future proceedings. While advisories are helpful, having easy access to past Speaker rulings can also help members better understand and thus abide by the standing orders. Next, on why an accessible Parliament is important. In order for Parliament to properly represent and hold the respect of our people, it mustn't be seen as a cold tower which operates independently and heedlessly of our constituents' everyday lives. Our people must believe that Parliament is a place where the people's concerns are debated and for their voices to be heard. To build respect for Parliament as a linchpin of our democracy, we have to ensure that as much as possible, our policy, lawmaking and accountability processes flow through our Parliament first and foremost. And the chosen means to discuss important matters of public interest in Parliament also matters. For example, questions about Ridout Road and the initial announcement of former Transport Minister Iswaran being investigated by CPIB were taken by way of ministerial statements in July and August 2023 respectively. A ministerial statement only allows for members to ask short clarifications, and the standing orders expressly prohibit members from having a debate thereon, while a full motion means that any member wanting to make their views known on the matter had up to 20 minutes to make a speech, not including clarifications. A means through which Parliament obtains regular and better dialogue and input from the public is by the use of parliamentary committees, which my colleague Gerald Giam will speak on. In short, having members of the public, experts and different interest groups provide evidence, like was the case during the Select Committee on Online Falsehoods, can ensure more voices are heard and lead to interested parties being able to watch the proceedings and thus understand the complexity of the issues being considered. We have to keep working to keep Parliament as accessible to our people as possible, with increased openness, reduced secrecy, whether perceived or real, to promote the man in the street's understanding of the actual process of legislating and making queries of how their taxpayer dollars are being spent. Where information is shared, it has to be on the basis of full disclosure unless circumstances dictate otherwise. Maintaining the principle of parliamentary transparency and openness can only encourage and advance more participatory democracy and better governance, and I hope that all of us here will play our part in enabling this to happen in a world that is getting increasingly unpredictable and volatile.
If you'd like to withdraw the amendment.
Thank you, Chairman. To close, I would like to thank PAL staff for their work in ensuring the running of the various different functions of Parliament, which range from the official parliamentary business, like ensuring sittings go smoothly, coordinating visiting dignitaries and overseas visits, and also the often unseen work in ensuring the functioning of areas such as security, research, communications, and facilities management. Our current speaker reminded us upon his election last year of our own fragility and mortality. He said that we are all too human, and as individuals, we may fail, while rules and institutions which apply without exception do not. This brings to mind something that Thomas Paine said a few centuries ago, in which he reminded us that there can never exist a parliament which will last forever, nor capable of commanding forever how to govern. So, given that our time on earth and this chamber is temporal, I hope that all of us can look deep within ourselves to think about the part that we can do in the here and now to maintain an institution that can be rightfully called a strong parliament that future generations can look up to. Chairman, I beg leave to withdraw my amendment.